Before we get into today's show, let me tell you about the latest deal from Mike Lindell, MyPillow. Once again, the big box stores have canceled their orders simply because they don't agree with Mike Lindell's politics. They don't like it because he supports President Trump. Well, he's going to pass that savings on to you. No more middleman. And boy, does he have some great deals on the Giza Dream sheets and the Patel bed sheets. Listen to this. Giza Dream queen size, normally $139.98. Your wholesale price, $69.99 when you use promo code Joey. King size, only $79.99. The Patel queen size, normally $89.98. Your wholesale price, $29.98 when you use promo code Joey. Just call 1-800-893-4059 or go to MyPillow.com. Always use promo code Joey. Free shipping options available. This allotment's not going to last very long. When they're gone, they're gone. MyPillow.com, promo code Joey. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss and Nutrition Studios. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. Welcome into the show today. Here's what we're going to be covering. Charlie Kirk's alleged assassin wrote his transgender lover a text in which he admitted to the murder and seemed to confess to the crime in an online chat also before surrendering to law enforcement. The accused shooter was charged formally yesterday. Meanwhile, ABC News is under fire this week, and at the center of the controversy, longtime correspondent Matt Gutman, who stunned viewers with his comments about the alleged assassin of conservative activist Charlie Kirk. You're not going to believe this when I tell you a little bit later. Things got heated on the Hill yesterday. FBI Director Patel sparred with Senator Adam Schiff, escalating to the point where Patel labeled Schiff a political buffoon. We can't argue with that. South Carolina Representative Stephen Frank joins us to discuss a movement within the House to have a Democrat removed from the House Judiciary Committee because of his sensitive comments about the assassination of Charlie Kirk. There's a lot to cover. Let's get started.
I told you we'd be back.
And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free.
It's Joey Hudson.
I wanted to name it the Joey Hudson bill, but, they don't allow you to put names on bills. But I wanted to call it the Joey Hudson bill because I know that one's been near and dear to you for a number of years.
That's how it's done. Let your voice be heard.
And the truth shall set you free.
Here's Joey Hudson.
The suspected assassin accused of fatally shooting Charlie Kirk appeared in a virtual court hearing yesterday where he was formally charged. The 22-year-old shooter is charged with aggravated murder, 2 counts of obstruction of justice, and felony discharge of a firearm causing serious bodily injury, 2 counts of witness tampering, and commission of a violent offense in the presence of a child. He didn't enter a plea. At one point, he leaned toward the camera and stated his name at the request of Utah 4th Judicial District Judge Tony Graff. The shooter appeared virtually on screen wearing a restrained garment. At first glance, he looked stoic and detached. During the reading of the charges, he remained emotionless as the judge read every charge, including the mention of a possible death penalty. He showed no visible reaction when the court referenced his alleged targeting of Kirk for political ideology. Prosecutors yesterday said they would be seeking the death penalty. His next court appearance is scheduled for 10 a.m. local time on September 29th, and he will remain in custody without bail. Graff said a lawyer must be appointed to represent the shooter by that date. Turning Point USA has urged its supporters to focus on honoring the life and the legacy of its late founder, Charlie Kirk. An official statement was shared on X by Andrew Colvett, Kirk's friend and the Charlie Kirk Show executive producer, saying, "For all those asking for comments following today's press conference, Turning Point is focused on celebrating and memorializing Charlie. We will have more to say in the future. Thank you to law enforcement at the local, state, and federal level and the prosecutors who continue to work to bring Charlie's assassin to justice. Thank you to the millions of people worldwide who continue to pour out prayers, love, and support for the Kirk family." Of course, there will be a memorial service this Sunday in Phoenix, Arizona. So the alleged shooter's roommate, who has been identified as Lance Twiggs, a biological male that identified as transgender, who was in a romantic relationship with the shooter, alleged shooter, provided evidence, including a series of text messages from the shooter on September the 10th, the day of the attack. Prosecutors say that Twiggs received a text message which said, "Drop what you're doing. Look under my keyboard." Twiggs looked under the keyboard and found a note that stated, "I had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and I'm going to take it." Police found a photograph of the note. Prosecutors say the following text exchange then took place. After reading the note, the roommate responded, "What?" with question marks across the line. "You're joking, right?" Again, a line of question mark for emphasis. He said, "I'm still okay, my love, but I'm stuck in Orem for a little while longer yet. Shouldn't be long until I can come home, but I got to grab my rifle still. To be honest, I'd hoped to keep this secret till I died of old age. I'm sorry to involve you." The roommate said, "You weren't the one who did it, right?" The shooter said, "I am. I'm sorry." Roommate, "I thought they caught the person." Shooter, "No, they grabbed some crazy old dude, then interrogated someone in similar clothing. I had planned to grab my rifle for my drop point shortly after, but most of that side of town got locked down. It's quiet, almost enough to get out, but there's one vehicle lingering." The roommate, "Why?" The shooter, "Why did I do it?" Roommate, "Yeah." The alleged shooter, "I had enough of his hatred. Some hate can't be negotiated out. If I am able to grab my rifle unseen, I will have left no evidence. Going to attempt to retrieve it again. Hopefully they have moved on. I haven't seen anything about them finding it." Roommate, "How long have you been planning this?" The alleged shooter, "A bit over a week, I believe. I can get close to it, but there's a squad car parked right by it. I think they already swept that spot, but I don't want to chance it." The alleged shooter then said, "I'm wishing I had circled back and grabbed it as soon as I got to my vehicle. I'm worried what my old man would do if I didn't bring back Grandpa's rifle. I doubt if it had a serial number, but it wouldn't trace to me. I worry about prints I had to leave in a bush where I changed outfits. Didn't have the ability or time to bring it with me. I might have to abandon it and hope they don't find prints. How the F will I explain losing it to my old man? Only thing I left was a rifle wrapped in a towel. Remember how I was engraving bullets? The effing messages are mostly a big meme. If I see notices bulge, UWU on Fox News, I might have a stroke. All right, I'm going to have it. Leave it. That really effing sucks. Judging from today, I'd say Grandpa's gun does just fine. I don't know. I think that was a $2,000 scope." The alleged shooter then said, "Delete this exchange." He said, "My dad wants photos of the rifle. He says Grandpa wants to know what has what. The feds released a photo of the rifle, and it's very unique. He's calling me now, not answering." He then says, "Since Trump got in office, my dad has been pretty diehard MAGA. I'm going to turn myself in willingly. One of my neighbors here is a deputy for the sheriff." He goes on to say, "You are all I worry about, love. I'm much more worried about you. Don't talk to the media, please. Don't take any interviews or make any comments. If any police ask you questions, ask for a lawyer and stay silent." I would say that's a confession, wouldn't you? Now, let's go over to ABC News, who finds itself under fire and at the center of this controversy. Longtime correspondent Matt Gutman, who stunned viewers with his comments about that text exchange that I just read to you, about the alleged assassin and his trans lover. Now, most people expected to focus beyond the brutality of the crime, right? On the growing concerns over political violence in America. But instead, Mr. Gutman used his national platform to talk about how touching the killer's text messages were. Here's what Gutman said after the press conference announcing murder charges against the 22-year-old shooter, the man accused of gunning down Kirk in broad daylight. Here's the exchange.
And then those text messages, and I don't think I've ever experienced a press conference in which we've read text messages that are so fulsome, so robust, so apparently, allegedly self-incriminating, and yet on the other hand, so touching, right? With the suspect reaching out to his roommate, who is allegedly his boyfriend, who we understand identified as male at birth, now identifies as female, and the terminology he used. He was trying to protect him. He kept calling him my love. My reason for doing this is to protect you, but also asking him to delete the messages and not speak to law enforcement. So there's this heartbreaking duality that we're seeing very tragically playing out.
Okay, so touching? He says that these text messages are touching, and he called it a heartbreaking duality, and went on to say the suspect was both violent and so loving in his messages. Is this guy nuts? I mean, this ABC reporter seemed more interested in painting a romantic picture than reporting on the cold-blooded, politically motivated killing of my colleague, Charlie Kirk. People noticed fast. Senator Jim Banks asked bluntly, "Wait, what?" Columnist Carol Markovich called it out with a simple but fitting WTF. And Red State's Bonte nailed it when he said, all it takes is transgenderism being involved, and suddenly the mainstream press thinks the shooter and his boyfriend are a touching love story. Wow. Gutman has yet to apologize. ABC News has not commented. Let's be honest, those summer vacations and backyard barbecues added some extra pounds, right? But instead of feeling guilty or falling further behind, it's time to reset, drop the weight, and get back in control. The solution isn't a shot. Real lasting weight loss starts with your mind, not your mouth. At PhD Weight Loss, Dr. Ashley Lucas and her team help you uncover the real reasons behind your weight gain so that you can reprogram the way you think about food forever. PhD clients lose up to a third of their body weight without ever taking a drug. I know because I lost 33 pounds with PhD weight loss. Through real food, behavioral coaching, and proven science, your body can become a natural fat-burning machine. Why risk spending thousands on shots that strip away muscle, come with dangerous side effects, and leave most people regaining 60% of the weight within a year? With PhD, you'll activate your body's natural appetite control, burn fat safely, and stay in control. Even if you're already on Ozempic, PhD can help you transition off while still losing weight. Take the first step today. Call 864-644-1900 or visit myphdweightloss.com. FBI Director Kash Patel went toe-to-toe with Adam Schiff during a Senate Judiciary Committee hearing yesterday. And let's just say Patel did not hold back. It started with the good senator from California pressing Patel over Ghislaine Maxwell, Jeffrey Epstein's longtime associate, who finds herself serving 20 years for sex trafficking minors. Schiff wanted to know why she was quietly transferred from a low-security prison in Florida to a minimum-security prison camp in Texas just days after a top DOJ official, Todd Blanks, had a closed-door meeting with her. Schiff, being Schiff, turned it in one of his classic grandstanding routines, saying, "Do you think the American people are stupid?" And that's when Patel absolutely went off on him.
Do not have that transcript in front of me. You're picking it piecemeal. The American public can read the entirety of that.
One last question, because you clearly won't tell us the cabinet members associated with Mr. Epstein. Let me ask you one last question. And that is, right after she gives this testimony in front of an FBI agent, among others, she's transferred to a minimum security prison not suitable for a sex offender like herself. Who made that decision and why?
The Bureau of Prisons.
The Bureau of Decisions made it in
prisons.
The Bureau of Prisons decided on their own, without any consultation with Blanche or anyone else, that they were going to suddenly, after this interview, completely unrelated to this interview, completely unrelated to anything she said, move her to a prison not suitable for a sex offender. You want the American people to believe that? Do you think they're stupid?
No. I think the American people believe the truth, that I'm not in the weeds on the everyday movements of inmates.
Not in the weeds?
What I am doing is protecting this country, providing historic reform, and combating the weaponization of intelligence by the likes of you. And we have countlessly proven you to be a liar in Russiagate, in January 6th. You are the biggest fraud to ever sit in the United States Senate. You are a disgrace to this institution and an utter coward.
I'm not surprised
I'm not surprised that you continue to lie from your perch and put on a show so you can go raise money for your charade. You are a political buffoon at best.
And that's insulting to the real political buffoons. Wow. When Patel shot back, no, I think the American people believe the truth. What I'm doing is protecting this country. Then he laid into Schiff's record, calling him a liar on Russiagate. Look, we know that you cannot trust Adam Schiff, period. Patel was right about everything he said. Political buffoon is an accurate description of Shifty Schiff. Because Adam Schiff has made a career out of leaking, out of lying, out of chasing phantoms. Remember this. He's the same guy who spent years claiming he had secret evidence that Donald Trump was a Russian agent. It never existed. It was all smoke, mirrors, and cable news hits. And now here he is lecturing Kash Patel on credibility. Give me a break. Now, Schiff tried to play it off, mumbling, I'm not surprised. Patel didn't let up. He fired back. You continue to lie from your perch. That's very true. Honestly, that might be the most accurate description of Adam Schiff we've heard ever. Now, let's get to the heart of this matter, though, because behind all the political theater, there's a very real, very serious question here. There's still a lot of questions surrounding this whole affair of Jeffrey Epstein. And quite honestly, I don't know who to believe at times. The Democrats claim they want to get to the truth. The Democrats claim they want to release all the information. But it's a little suspect coming from the Democrats, right? I mean, it is a valid question of why Ghislaine Maxwell, convicted of sex trafficking children, was moved to a minimum security prison camp when Bureau of Prisons policy says offenders like her should remain in at least low security custody. That's a valid question, I guess. And why did that move happen just after a meeting with a deputy attorney general? And right as the DOJ and FBI announced that they would not be releasing any new documents from the Epstein case. Remember, these are the same agencies that have been promising full transparency on Epstein. Eventually, we got to get there. They told us they'd follow the evidence wherever it led. We have to trust them that they do under the Trump administration. We know that the Biden administration DOJ was a different story. And then they quietly declared the investigation closed, which caught us all by surprise. They said they'd found no new people who could be charged. No client list, no accountability, just silence. And then we have this sweetheart transfer for one of the people who probably knows everything. So there are some questions that need to be answered. I trust, for now, Kash Patel to get to those answers, though. And here's the thing. The American people are not stupid. He's right there. They suspect a cover-up because if anyone else trafficked underage girls, they wouldn't be lounging in a prison camp in Bryan, Texas. They'd be locked down and forgotten. But Ghislaine Maxwell gets special treatment. If she's going to get special treatment, I hope that means she's going to be providing some additional information. Again, I'm willing to give it time. But I expect to have some answers, don't you? Meanwhile, the DOJ tells us that they somehow never managed to track down Epstein's network. No powerful names, no big arrests, nothing to see here. Move along. They dumped, 30,000 plus documents. Honestly, I haven't had time to read them. Have you? I'm assuming that somebody is going through those, though, and we eventually are going to have a summary of what's in there. But frankly, that's been, a week and a half? I would have thought that we would have had something by now, if it's in there. So frankly, Patel's outburst, I would say, are overdue, coming from the fact that Adam Schiff was the one with the accusations. Somebody finally said to Adam Schiff's face what so many Americans are thinking, what you and I have been thinking, that our justice system has been weaponized. Somebody finally said to Adam Schiff that people like Schiff helped make it this way. And that while they posture about protecting democracy, they cover for the powerful and silence anyone who gets close to the truth. So good for Kash Patel. It's about time someone called out this circus for what it is. But again, I want Kash Patel to get us some answers, to dig into the material, to tell us the truth. And again, I trust him to do so. Because the real story here isn't just the feud between Kash Patel and Adam Schiff. It's that Epstein's network appears to once again have been protected. Now, again, there's been so many twists and turns to this whole story. Maybe the truth is there wasn't a list. Maybe the truth is there wasn't a Jeffrey Epstein folder that listed all these powerful, wealthy individuals who had been involved in his network. I don't know. And because of all the twists and turns that we have been faced with, we may never really trust that we know the truth, right? We may never really trust that what the final outcome is the real truth. But again, I'm going to give Kash Patel, I'm going to give the Trump Department of Justice time to work that out, and we'll see where that leads. You know, President Donald Trump is in the middle of his second UK visit. It commenced last night, and we're already getting a taste of the protests expected by the globalists and the leftist groups. Last night, President Trump, First Lady Melania, were privately entertained by King Charles and Queen Camilla at Windsor. The naysayers have made their presence felt. Reports arise that 4 people have been arrested after pictures of President Trump and convicted pedophile Jeffrey Epstein were projected onto the side of Windsor Castle's walls. The Independent reported several pictures of the U.S. president and the disgraced financier were projected onto the side of the royal residence as he landed in the UK for his state visit. Other images were also displayed on the side of the castle, including Trump's mugshot from when he was indicted in 2023 on charges of plotting to overturn the results of the 2020 presidential election in the state of Georgia. Political campaign group led by donkeys shared an image of the stunt to Instagram with the caption, "Hey Donald, welcome to Windsor Capitol." Thames Valley Police stated that the 4 people were arrested for suspicion of malicious communication. Now, I wonder if we have such a charge here in the United States, malicious communications. If, in fact, we do, there's probably a lot of people could be charged with that, particularly over these past 2 weeks, right? Add more names to the list of people, high-profile people, adults who should know better, who have lost their jobs over incendiary comments about Charlie Kirk's assassination. Another high-profile official put on leave, the chief of the Cleveland Division of Fire, was placed on paid administrative leave after sharing an insensitive and incendiary social media post in the wake of the Charlie Kirk assassination, according to Cleveland Mayor Justin Bibb. He announced it yesterday. The post on Facebook has since been deleted. It was posted by Anthony P. Luke, referred to Kirk, and featured a cartoon showing elephants worshiping a golden rifle, with one elephant declaring, "Bring out the next sacrifice." The post reportedly appeared on Luke's personal Facebook page after Charlie Kirk was assassinated on the college campus in Utah a week ago. Bibb said the post crossed the line. In a statement, he said, "This post romanticizes gun violence, a matter far too serious in a city where we mourn too many families every week, too many lives cut short, and too many children denied safe sleep in their beds." Chief Luke's post crossed the line. It was insensitive. It was incendiary. It did not reflect the values of compassion, unity, and safety that I strive to stand for. Luke was appointed as the city's 17th fire chief. Now, this is Cleveland. You think, well, that's Cleveland. That's up there. Well, we've had plenty ourselves down in the Palmetto State. Clemson University has been in the center of controversy. Their university board approved of 2 additional professors being fired yesterday, which brings the total to 3 total terminations for inappropriate social media posts related to the assassination. Hours later, after Clemson announced this, Coastal Carolina University announced dismissing 1 employee and suspending another without pay pending further review of social media posts. In the college's statement, they said CCU is committed to upholding our institutional values as we continue to pursue our core mission of supporting student success with the highest standards of integrity and accountability. The college in Conway declined to give any further details on what it called, quote, personnel matters, but noted the reports it received included posts made by people who do not work for the school anymore. At Clemson, the 2 additional firings for now deleted posts came a day after the university's first termination for online reaction to Kirk's death. The upstate school announced that firing shortly after or before a meeting of the school's governing board, after the board had received a little bit of encouragement, let's say, from GOP legislators. It appeared that Clemson was dragging their feet until the president of the Senate, Thomas Alexander, and Speaker of the House, Merle Smith, and a couple other highly or very powerful legislators sent a letter to the Board of Trustees expressing their desire for the trustees to take some action. The college, in a statement, said, "We fully acknowledge the concerns raised regarding the timing of recent personnel decisions. Every deliberation reflects the university's unwavering commitment to conduct all actions in full compliance with institutional policies, state and federal laws, and the foundational principles of due process." Now, colleges generally have separate policies and procedures for faculty members versus members of the general staff. The school statement said Clemson remains resolute in its commitment to cultivating an environment that is safe, respectful, and conducive to academic excellence. The social media post came to light last week, of course, as the Clemson College Republicans began flagging the employees' online reactions to Charlie Kirk's death, including posts from 2 assistant professors making light of the killing. Now, these college Republicans, they took it upon themselves to monitor these social media sites. I had a couple of college Republicans at our Freedom Farm Fest at my home Saturday, and they were explaining to me how they had done this. And good for them. Kudos to them. I mean, think about that. It takes the students to monitor the faculty, the adults. Now, on another upstate campus, a part-time instructor was pulled from teaching duties following a vulgar online post. An adjunct professor at the University of South Carolina Union made an insulting comment about a Republican state legislator, Lawrence Representative Luke Rankin, who we had on the show on Monday, who is seeking to name a road in Lawrence County after Charlie Kirk. He explained that to us on Monday. USC Union, the spokesperson, Jeff Stensland, said in a statement, the instructor showed a serious lack of professional judgment and has expressed remorse. USC Union is committed to maintaining the highest standards of professionalism in all interactions. It's a standard response. I think they all have written this and they've shared it with one another. What is wrong with these people? I mean, truly. And this is just the Palmetto State. Texas Republican Governor Greg Abbott yesterday, along with the Texas Education Agency, known as TEA, they announced that more than 100 educators are under investigation in Texas and could face suspension of their teaching certificates for social media posts, again, related to the assassination of Charlie Kirk. These are supposed to be leaders. These are the people who are teaching our children, and they're losing their jobs because of these senseless comments. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that you would think that the students would be doing, that maybe some of these college Republicans might be doing, or the college Democrats. But no, these are the adults in the room. The Texas Education Association said that it is reviewing at least 180 complaints alleging that teachers posted comments online that celebrated Charlie Kirk's death or called for additional violence. They said if investigators determine those posts violate the state's educator code of ethics, the teachers could lose their certification and be barred from working in public schools. They should be. They should never have a job teaching again. Now, I'm all about grace. We have to forgive people. They can go find something else to do, though. Doesn't mean just because they say they're sorry, which I hope they do, but they're just going to have to find another type of job. They can go work in Walmart or someplace else. I don't know that Walmart would hire them, though. Governor Abbott said in a statement he condemned the educators' actions as abhorrent and said Texas would not tolerate teachers who use their platforms to incite violence. He directed the Texas Education Association to ensure swift investigation and disciplinary action. Abbott emphasized teachers who glorify violence have no place in our schools, and he is so right. There is no place for any teacher who celebrates violence, who encourages violence. The Texas Education Association Commissioner Mike Morath released a statement as well, saying that educators are held to a higher standard of professionalism and that there's a difference between comments made in poor taste and those that call for and incite further violence. We'll see. Your comments are welcome on the Furman Ford text line, 864-477-JOEY. That's 864-477-5639. Emails always welcome, joey@joeyhudson.com. Speaking of the Furman Ford text line, it's never been more important to support locally run businesses owned by people who actually live here in the upstate. Let me take a minute to talk with you about our friends at Furman Ford. If you're looking for a new vehicle, maybe a great pre-owned vehicle, one you can trust, or maybe you're looking to order that special vehicle. Either way, if you want a new one, a brand new one, or a pre-owned that you can trust, the folks at Furman Ford, they're there to help you. Their name is on the sign because their name is on the line, because every single transaction is important to them. Jim Furman, Matthew Furman. They do business the right way. When you stop by, when you give them a call, or maybe when you just send them a quick email, you're always going to have access to a member of the Furman Ford family. And by the way, they also offer great service, and you're not going to have to wait weeks and weeks to get it done. And you do not have had to purchase your vehicle at Furman Ford. Doesn't even have to be a Ford. They service all makes and models. Visit my friends at Furman Ford online at furmanford.com, furmanford.com. Since Charlie Kirk's assassination 1 week ago, we've been seeing hateful and vicious comments about Charlie's work. And the sad thing is, there was nothing hateful nor vicious about Charlie Kirk. I know him. He was a patriot who loved his country and, above all, loved his God. Over the last week, we've seen school teachers, college professors, doctors, business executives lose their jobs because they celebrated the brutal death of Charlie Kirk. The question being raised now is whether a member of the South Carolina House of Representatives should possibly lose his position on a very powerful committee due to his comments on the late Charlie Kirk. Join me on the guest line today, Representative Stephen Frank, who represents the people of House District 20 in Greenville County. Representative Frank, welcome.
Hey, Joey. How you doing today?
I am wonderful. Appreciate your time today. Appreciate you being with me. So let's just jump right in here. You're calling on the Speaker of the House to remove Representative King from the House Judiciary Committee. Let's start with what your colleague said that has you and some others believing that he should be removed from his committee assignment.
Well, Joey, you mentioned leading into the call the variety of folks that have been reprimanded in various ways for their vile comments, frankly, on the assassination of Charlie Kirk. And they've been dealt with. We just went through that with Clemson University and others. But we've got a sitting member of the House of Representatives, John King, who is spewing some of those vile and hatred stuff. And quite frankly, Joe, he's doubled down and defended and excused the assassination of Charlie Kirk. It's one thing, in my view, to disagree. I'm all for the freedom of speech. But excuse and defend the assassination of another human being while at the same time claiming to be a Christian is just, frankly, unconscionable.
Yeah. I want to read part of what Representative King wrote. He said, We will not praise a man who openly hated our very existence, who dismissed our intelligence, who ignored our contributions to this country. Now, he obviously is talking about African Americans and believes that Charlie Kirk hated black people. He obviously, though, has never watched Charlie Kirk. He's never seen any Charlie Kirk YouTube videos, because you can quickly find many where Charlie only encouraged people of all races to be involved in our country. I don't get where he talks about or where he thinks that Charlie Kirk has dismissed black people. Do you?
I don't, Joe, and I've seen hours and hours of content from Charlie Kirk. Never once have I seen or heard that man utter a racist comment, not in any way. And to just blatantly lie about somebody so that you can attack them for political points, maybe. It's hard to judge the man's motives here. But he said exactly what you read, and he's also made the comment, "Live by the sword and die by the sword." And I still struggle to understand what that even means, because, as you mentioned, Charlie Kirk was a peaceful man.
Yeah.
He wasn't violent. He didn't advocate violence. His only sword was conversation and debate. So I still struggle to understand what sword we're even talking about here.
Yeah, it makes no sense. On my guest line today, Representative Stephen Frank, have you spoken with any of your Democrat colleagues about this? Is there any bipartisan support for your call for him to be removed from his committee assignment?
I haven't yet. I've started reaching out to a few of them. I have yet to hear back. I'm hoping that here in the next 24, 48 hours, we can have some of those conversations. I just can't believe that any of them would condone this. I know quite a number of them, and even though we might disagree sometimes vehemently over policy and issues, I just can't imagine any of them supporting or condoning the words by coming from their Democratic colleagues. So I'm hoping that they take this seriously, along with my other Republican representatives. I just don't see this as being a partisan issue, quite frankly. This is an issue of humanity, and I hope they see it as such.
Yeah. Representative Frank, what about the Speaker? Any word from Speaker Merle Smith yet? What's the next steps, I guess?
I haven't heard from the Speaker yet. I've reached out to him. I hope to have a conversation with him soon as well. My call is for Speaker Merle Smith to remove Representative King from the Judiciary Committee. That's well within his power and authority. He sets up the committees and makes those assignments, so he can absolutely make changes any time. I think that'd be well in the realm of appropriate, given what Rep King has said. Beyond that, as soon as we go back into session, whether it's for special session or in January, I'll be bringing a resolution to censure Mr. King. And, ironically, John sits not just on the Judiciary, but on the Ethics Committee as well, which is where resolutions of censure and ethics complaints go. So that position is elected by the body, so the Speaker can't just remove him, but the Speaker can remove him from the Judiciary Committee, and I hope he takes that seriously and moves forward with that promptly.
Yeah. Well, we'll certainly be following this, and hope, Representative Frank, that you will keep us informed on this. But before we have about a minute left, I want to go back. We talked earlier about some of the actions that colleges and universities have taken, but there's also still some employees, some professors, some administrators at other schools around the state who have said very hateful things, and they still have their jobs. Where do you think we stand on that? And do you believe that all of these people who made these types of comments should lose their job?
I do. If they've crossed the line of excusing or defending an assassination and they're public employees, I absolutely do. Simply disagreeing with someone's ideology, I don't think that by any means constitutes grounds for removal. But as we saw with Clemson, those professors and employees crossed clear lines, and I hope that these others at other universities and counties and municipalities are held to that same standard. It's getting tiresome, quite frankly, having to fight all of these, and I hope others will continue to shed light when they see various posts on social media or hear communication from these folks, so they be dealt with. And I hope representatives and other officials, locally to these offenders would speak up and take action like the rest of us have.
Yeah, I agree. You know, I hate to see anyone lose their job, but look, you have a responsibility, and we do not need people making these vicious comments, teaching our kids. And, you know, quite frankly, it's just disappointing to me that it took pressure from the legislator or some of you guys for some of these schools to take this action, because I'm convinced they probably would not have had there not been such a public outcry against this. But I'm glad they finally did the right thing. Representative Stephen Frank, it's always a pleasure. Appreciate your time today. Hey, and we'll look forward to an update on this as soon as you hear back from the speaker and what action may be taken.
Thank you, Joey. I appreciate you having me on. I hope you have a blessed day.
That's it for today's edition of Just the Truth. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss Studios. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. If you haven't joined my mailing list yet, visit my website, joeyhudson.com. Click on the Connect with Joey button so that you can receive our emails and the most up-to-date news. Also, join me on my YouTube channel. Be sure and like, comment, and subscribe. Just search for Joey Hudson. As always, thanks for spending a few minutes of your day with me. Do me a favor and forward this episode to a few friends. Just click on the share button and send to your contacts. We need to build an army of conservatives to win our country back, and we can do that by continuing to share the truth with our friends and family. Keep those comments coming via the Furman Ford text line 864-477-JOEY. Email to joey@joeyhudson.com, and I love your messages on the MyPillow message line. Again, that's 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639. Be sure and take advantage of the MyPillow special, just $14.88 on the standard MyPillows when you use promo code Joey. Order online at mypillow.com or call 800-893-4053. We're back again tomorrow and hope you'll plan to join us. Until then, remember, God's got this. He's still in control.